Turning attention now to the other conflict that seems to be getting more and more entangled with each passing year. Yes, it's going to be 4 years in February 2026, viewers. The Russia-Ukraine war has been grinding on. President Putin has signaled no willingness to compromise on key demands in the conflict, throwing fresh uncertainty over international peace efforts. There have been multiple proposals that have been put forth. Putin is rejecting territorial concessions, insists Moscow's terms for ending the war remain unchanged, even as America and allied diplomats push for a negotiated settlement. The Kremlin's stance means that the key questions actually remain unanswered. What are those? Which is, Russia still demands Ukraine seize control of key regions, that is Crimea, Donetsk, Luhansk, Kherson, and several others. The territories that Kiev and its Western allies consider sovereign Ukrainian land and what they think are non-negotiable, no-go zones. This comes amidst intense shuttle diplomacy, with the US envoys shuttling between Moscow, Kiev and European capitals in search of a deal before the end of the year. They were in Berlin and they are now going to be in Brussels as well to try and sort out maybe Russian frozen assets could really be the big deal clincher. But Putin's refusal to soften his position has stalled progress, even as Ukrainian President Zelensky explores alternative security guarantees Western leaders consider boosting support. Let's in fact tell you now in terms of more detailed updates as to how things stand, and then we get a big voice to talk more on this. First and foremost, now the major roadblocks that exist. Why is it that despite multiple offers, there have been 4 proposals that have been put forth, where things stand as far as the peace deal is concerned? Let's tell you why is it that roadblocks exist. First and foremost, key issues with regard to territory remain unresolved, which is that Russia says that I'm going to take almost all of Donbass and other regions. Ukraine has conceded, saying let's freeze the lines as they exist today, which means no more, no less. Still not good enough for Russia. Putin in fact, he wants comprehensive peace deal. He says there will be no ceasefire whatsoever. There was talk of a Christmas ceasefire. That isn't the case anymore, because Vladimir Putin feels the momentum is with him. And as things stand right now, Russia has an upper hand. They will not settle for anything that is piecemeal, but more comprehensive. There are draft proposals that have been pushed forward by the US. European capitals are just playing host to multiple meetings that are taking place, even as a final breakthrough is yet to be achieved. And lastly, security guarantees are on the table. Ukraine has all along said that, look, you got to guarantee, back me up completely, and ensure that there are troops, funding, and guarantees that are enshrined by the US Congress. That's what Ukraine wants. US has moved a little forward than what it was earlier, but still the position remained different. And that is some of the reasons why there is some sort of a breakthrough that is yet to be achieved. Let's get in Alexey Mukhin, who's joining us for more on this, to talk more in terms of how this is likely to pan out from here. Mr. Alexey, thanks much for speaking to me. Let me ask you, fair and square, how things stand. There have been Berlin talks. There have been talks in the past. How are things looking?
Hello. I don't think that the problem is that all sides of this negotiation has they hide it wishing, and of course we discussing. Of course we are on a peaceful track, but we have our own issues and our own goals, and that's why our vision is completely different. The good thing is that Russia and United States has common points for conversation, for deal, kind of a deal, because in Russia we don't like the term deal, because we say about peaceful agreement, which can resolve all problems around this conflict and reasons why it happens. So Putin is quite flexible and quite hard in his positions, and Russia positions. And Americans knows about this. That's why negotiation with Zelensky and coalition of willing is so hard to continue, because
Mr. Alexey, something that many are asking is that, is it correct to assess that as things stand, the world is probably the closest it has been to achieving some sort of a peace framework? Do you concur with that assessment?
As I correctly understood, you asked me about what kind of common points we have, or what's the problem with our points we could not accept from each other. Yes, is it right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So common points is the Russia is winning, and it's the fact. That's why United States and maybe Ukraine, some parts of Ukraine want to stop this war. They call this ceasefire. Ceasefire from the Zelensky and coalition of William is a trick, because they just...
No, you don't want a ceasefire. That's very clear. Russia doesn't want a ceasefire. It has military momentum with it. But the question I'm asking is that are we closest to achieving some sort of a peace framework? Or do you think that the positions are still too far apart? There is no way there can be a middle ground.
No. We are very close. We are very close to make a deal. But the problem is that coalition of willing and...
I thought you didn't like the word deal.
Zelensky personally don't want to do this. They really don't want to do this, because they completely denied many things that is principle for Russia. And United States accepted this as a principal position of Russia. And that's all. Because Zelensky and coalition of willing want to continue, not to stop, really. All of what they suggest is a trick. It's not truth. It's just a maneuver for continuing the conflict, because they hope to dig money.
All right. You didn't like the word deal, sir, but deal is what is happening. There are deal making parallelly that are taking place between US and Russia on a bunch of things. You said critical minerals, rare earth deposits, energy, all of those are likely to be part of a broader peace framework, even as those teething issues still remain. I'm going to leave it there. Mr. Alexey Mukhin joining us live from Moscow. He's the Director General of Center for Political Information. And even as, viewers, the war grinds on, if you take off your blinkers, as things stand, critics warn that Moscow's uncompromising posture could prolong the conflict indefinitely, even as allies debate whether to escalate sanctions and military aid from here on. For Kiev, the war shows little signs of ending. Millions of lives, billions of international aid hang in the balance. Message from Kremlin is clear: no compromise, even as Vladimir Putin has actually upped the ante in terms of responding to Europe. He has actually called all European leaders as little pigs. Now, this kind of commentary indicates where the negotiations are likely to go from here on. Hardening of position from Kremlin. How far away is that peace deal? Remains to be seen.